Your cancer journey is quite fascinating. I guess could you so you said you got diagnosed with cancer.
Mhm.
I to my understanding that's a very bad cancer, people would say.
So, um, the type of cancer I had was prostate cancer. And I had missed a PSA test, and it's how they measure your how healthy your prostate is, and 0 to 4 is normal. And when I got my first test results in February, the number was 33.
Hmm.
And so they said, well, come back in 2 weeks and test it again. And it was 44. And they did a biopsy in 2 more weeks, and it was 82. And then we went and got a bone scan. And I lit up the bone scan, so like kind of like a Christmas tree. And it was in all my bones. So it was stage 4, and I was pretty far down the hole of, it was bad. And so I was talking to the doctors here, and they gave me a treatment plan of 6 chemo sessions and being chemically castrated first. And so I got a second opinion down at Henry Ford, and they said they didn't even have the bone scan. They just looked at the text and went, well, we don't even need to read it, just looking at the text. And by the way, we wouldn't offer you anything different, so you might as well get your treatment at Alpena.
Hmm.
And a friend of mine pointed me to a gentleman that makes THC suppositories. And the THC suppositories are made from the resin around the bud of a marijuana plant. And they took 36 different strains of the plant and boiled them all down to a pure resin. And so when I went and saw the oncologist for the first time, get the Lupron shot, I started taking one of those a day. And the nice thing about suppositories is, everybody hears THC and pot and you're going to get high. Well, when you take it as a suppository, you don't get high. It doesn't go through your lungs, it doesn't go through your liver, it goes straight into your bloodstream. And every cell in your body has a cannabinoid receptor built into it by God so that it can get the plant medicine in. And so I took one of those a day, and we went in for the first chemo, and I got my nausea medicine wrong. And I had a 10-hour puking time, and I don't remember the last 8 hours. My youngest son was home taking care of me. And the next couple of days later, I'm going to the emergency room where my eye is starting to fall out of my socket.
Gee whiz.
And I guess it turns out that, you puke so much, you break the blood vessels in the back of your eye.
Hmm.
And so I'm like, what's going on with my body? So I stopped the suppositories, and I went in for the next chemo treatment, and the number had gone from 82 to 28 after the first one. And no, it went from 28 to, went from 82 to 28 for the first month from the Lupron shot and the suppositories. And after the first chemo treatment, went down to 4.7.
Hmm.
And then after 4 treatments, it was down to 3.0. And
So you've seen a radical improvement.
yes. And when you're doing both the suppositories and the Lupron, you don't know who was
Right. Which one's working?
which one's working.
And this is over the course of how long, did you say?
So the chemo, it was 30 days, and then each treatment was every 3 weeks.
Gee whiz.
And so I'm going in for the 6th treatment, and they couldn't give me the blood results from the 5th treatment. The labs were slow that day, and I'm talking to my oncologist with an end-of-life discussion. And so I asked him, what happens when the cancer starts beating what you're giving me? He says, don't worry, I've had a patient that's had 78 sequences. But what's a sequence? Chemo, wait 3 weeks. That's a sequence. He was promised me 72 more times in the chair, and that was going to be my quality of life.
Gee whiz.
And that's what the cancer people were offering me. So that kind of shook me a bit. And 2 days later, I found out that my scores have gone from 3 to 4. And when they tested my cancer, I found out I had one of the most aggressive kinds of cancers.
It sounds like it.
Hence all the scores. So when your scores are going up in the middle of chemo treatment, you're losing. And so I called my friends that made these suppositories. And I asked him, what should I do? And he says, start with 3 a day, because you don't get high, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And in 12 days, the numbers went from 4 to 2.5. And I kept it up for 3 more weeks, and it was down to 2.0. So in 5 weeks, we cut it in half. And so we cut it back to one suppository a day, a gram a day for the next 2 months, and we got it down to 1.77. And after Thanksgiving, I had a bout of nausea for almost a week, and I was admitted to the hospital, and they had to use morphine and Dilaudid to knock it off, and so I wasn't taking anything. They'd also given me female hormones to take. I was getting hot flashes like an old woman. It was ridiculous. And don't ask me why that was part of the treatment, but it was crazy. And so when I got my December's number, the number had gone up to 2.25. And when I'd asked the doctor about it in August, he goes, that stuff is 21st century snake oil. And so when I found the number went up to 2.25, I called my guy back up and says, what should I do? He goes, 2 a day. So we did 2 a day. So in January, the numbers come in at 1.44, and February was 1.1, and March was 0.96, and April was 0.85. And my numbers have not gone up since then from that time to above 1.2.
What did your doctors say in the meantime? Did they credit that to the chemo at all, or what did they say?
So, when I talk to, I see him every 3 months after the chemo is over. And so I saw him in January, and I said, well, what do you think, Doc? And he goes, well, we're going to agree to disagree. And I went, I'm not an oncologist, but I'm a smart guy, and I can see a trend line. And he goes, well, we're going to need to have a clinical study before I would accept the results, 3,000 people. So my next appointment was April. By this time, it was down to 0.85. And my brother's a PA, and he found a clinical study out of Australia with prostate cancer and cannabinoids. And he comes to me, and it's 15-page, and I couldn't read it, but he tells me, he says, Bruce, it's amazing. Your results are exactly what the clinical study shows. The more you take, the better it works.
Is this
So in April, I gave him a copy of the clinical study. I says, what do you think now, Doc? Well, if I talk about it, I'll lose my license.
Gee whiz.
And that's just how big pharma is at.
That's horrible. So Bruce, where, I guess, if someone's wanting to research this, because I think hearing your story, and I think if they were in terminal cancer, a lot of people would say, what do I have to lose? So where can they go to research?
Well, that's exactly where I was at. What do you have to lose?
Yeah.
Yep. As it turns out, a gentleman by the name of Rick Simpson, an engineer in Canada, figured out with his own cancer that if you boil down the plant so it's just the oil, the resin out of the plant, that it can be cancer curing. And if you search for Rick Simpson oil on the website, he has a website in Canada, and you can get these suppositories from him.
So they need to be researching Rick Simpson online, and they can
Yes,
find
and
their
they'll
own.
be able to find it themselves.
Well, Bruce, thank you for coming. We appreciate it. Yeah, we appreciate everything you're doing, and hopefully people can check out your website.
We appreciate it, and we'd like people's support because we're making a big difference in the Alpena community.
We'd like to thank our sponsors, of course, and also Intrigue Digital for filming this and producing this.
Hey there, everyone. Just wanted to remind you to stay in the loop. If you're watching us on Facebook and Rumble, be sure you hit that follow button. If you're following us on YouTube, be sure you subscribe and follow so you can see every episode. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.
A large retail store just canceled a huge order, leaving us with a ton of extra MyPillows. But you know what? That's their loss. I'm going to make it your gain. For the first time ever, you get standard classic MyPillows for wholesale prices, only $14.88. I can't believe I'm even saying that. Only $14.88. But it gets even better. For a limited time, I'm going to offer my entire classic collection at wholesale prices. Upgrade to a queen size MyPillow for just $18.88. King size only $1 more. Get my body pillows for $29.88 and multi-use MyPillows for only $9.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on the screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of wholesale pricing for the first time ever on TV, including my standard size MyPillow, only $14.88. They've never been offered this low before. We have limited quantities at this price, so limit's going to be 10, and once they're gone, they're gone.